Okay, so here's the Chapter 3 test, and I'll be doing question 1, 3, 8 through 11, 12. For numbers 1 and 3, the directions tell us to define the relationship between the two angles. So for number 1, they ask us to define the relationship between angle 1 and angle 2. So we'll go back to our chart, and angle 1 and angle 2, these two. So if they are on opposite sides of the line, like these are, they are alternate, meaning different sides. But if they're on the same side, like if you look at 4 and 2, it's called consecutive. But since these two angles are on different sides of the line, we're going to call them alternate angles. And there's also interior and exterior. Exterior is like this 5 out here. It's on the outside of the line. And so if there was a number out here, it would also be exterior. But all these numbers inside the two lines are called interior lines. And it looks like both 1 and 2 are interior. So, number 1, alternate interior lines. Okay, so number 3 is very similar to number 1. We're just going to define the relationship between the two angles. So number 3 wants us to define the relationship between angle 2 and angle 3. So you're saying, these aren't exterior or interior. It's not one thing. But this is a special kind of angle. If it's both interior and exterior, they are called corresponding angles. Okay, so directions say, if line L is parallel to line M, which angles are supplementary to angle 1? So supplementary means that it has to equal 180 degrees when you add them together. So, it's very simple. If you just look at this line and compare it to this line, you see that since 2 and 6, they're corresponding angles. That means they're the same angle. So 1 and 6 must be supplementary. Also, over here, you look at that 4 and 8 are also corresponding angles. So angle 1 must be supplementary to angle 8. So these two lines must be parallel because of 1 and 6 and 1 and 8 being supplementary. For numbers 9, 10, and 11, the directions tell us to use the diagram to the right to determine which lines must be parallel. So, if angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent, which means they're the same angle, that means, so if these two angles, this one and this one, then angle L and angle N must be parallel, just because these two are congruent. Okay, so number 9 is lines L and N. Number 10, angle 3 and angle 4 are right angles. So you go back to our chart, angle 3 and angle 4 are right angles. So it's pretty much telling us the same thing it did with number 1 and number 2 on number 9, that these two angles are congruent. So since these equal each other, that must mean that line M and line N are parallel. Okay, last one, number 11. So, if angle 1 is congruent to angle 5, and angle 5 and angle 7 are supplementary. What does that mean? So, like I said in the last video, supplementary means that it equals 180 degrees. So these must be 90 degrees, right? Since 90 plus 90 equals 180. And we know this is 90 degrees because it told us that it's congruent. And they're 90 degrees. So that means line L and line M must be parallel. Okay, so number 12 tells us to write an equation of the line that it describes. Okay, so 12 says, the line parallel to y equals negative 1/3 x plus 5 with a y-intercept of 1. Okay, so the first thing you need to know about parallel lines is it has the same slope. Okay, so this number with the x is the slope. This number over here is the y-intercept. So this equation is very simple. Since it tells you the y-intercept, you just put that in for 5. So now the new equation is y equals negative 1/3 x plus 1.